You know that feeling when someone says, "I'm fine," but everything about them screams, "Not so much." Their shoulders are tense, they won't make eye contact, and their voice has that slight tremor that tells you that there's more going on than what they're showing. We all have those moments where we sense something deeper is happening, but we can't quite put our finger on it. I had one of those moments the other day with my son. He came home from school and gave the usual, good response when asked about his day. But something felt off, right? His normal bounce was missing. His smile didn't quite reach his eyes. And so instead of pressing for details, I just sat with him, working on this podcast while he did his homework. After about 20 minutes of some comfortable silence, he started talking. He started telling me what was going on in his day at school. But it was in that quiet space where no words were needed, right? He felt safe enough to share what was really on his mind. And sometimes the most important conversations, they start in silence. Have you thought about that? Well, this got me thinking about how much we miss when we only listen to the words people say, instead of tuning into everything else they're trying to tell us. The sighs, the shifting glances, the way their energy changes. It's all about the deeper language that sometimes we often overlook. So today, we're going to explore how to become fluent in this unspoken language, how to hear what isn't said, and how to create space where real connection can flourish. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. Think about that last time you really felt heard by someone. Not just listened to, but truly understood, right? Chances are, it wasn't just because they caught every word you said. It was probably because they caught all the things you didn't say. The emotion behind your words, right? The weight in your pauses and the things you were struggling to express. Well, sometimes communication, it's like an iceberg. The words we speak are just a tiny tip, visual above the water. The real substance, our emotions, our fears, our hopes, our needs, they lie beneath the surface. And learning to listen beyond words is like learning to see the whole iceberg, not just the peak. Well, how do we develop this deeper kind of listening? Well, I want to break it down. I want to break it down into what I like to call the 3 layers of listening. Are you ready? You can write this down if you like. I highly recommend this. The first layer is physical. This is about tuning into someone else's body language. Are their shoulders tight? Are they relaxed? Are they making eye contact or looking away? Are their arms crossed protectively or are they open? Our bodies, they often tell stories that our words won't necessarily admit. I remember sitting with a friend who was telling me about this new job opportunity, and they kept saying how excited they were. But their hands were just kind of fidgeting, right? Constantly with their coffee cup. And the foot was tapping, and just the whole body was telling a story of just being anxious. They weren't ready to acknowledge it. Have you ever experienced that with someone? And then the second layer of this is emotional. This is about listening for the feelings beneath the words. Someone might be describing their day in a perfectly calm voice, but you might hear a sense of frustration in their tone, or notice they keep circling back to a particular moment. Big key there. These emotional undertones, a lot of times they carry the real message. And then the third layer, it's energetic. It's the hardest to describe, but perhaps the most important. It's that little intuitive sense so we get about what's really going on with someone. That feeling that tells us to stay a little longer with a friend who says they need to go, or to give some space to someone who says they want to talk. I know. Here's the thing about listening at these deeper levels. And again, those three are physical, emotional, and energetic. These deeper levels, they require us to be really present. In our world of constant notifications and divided attention, true presence, it's like a golden unicorn. It's so rare. So I want to share with you 3 really practical ways to deepen your listening practice. This is really important. And for some of us, it's really hard because when we get the opportunity to share and to talk, we do. But when do we give the opportunity to someone else? So first things first, practice the art of the pause. When someone finishes speaking, resist the urge to jump in immediately with a response. Let there be a moment of silence, because it's in these spaces that people often share what's really on their minds. Think of silence as an invitation, not an awkward gap that needs to be filled. Remember the conversation with my son, how it began in silence. Second, pay attention to how your body feels when you're listening to someone. And sometimes our bodies sense things before our minds do. So if you notice yourself tensing up while someone is saying everything is great, it could be that your body is sensing a difference between what they're saying and how they actually feel. And then third, ask questions. Ask questions that invite deeper sharing. So instead of saying, "How are you?" try, "What's been on your mind lately?" Or instead of "How was your day?" something like, "What's a moment from today that you'd like to share?" I love that one. But perhaps the most important aspect of listening beyond words is learning to listen to ourselves this way. Oh, come on. You saw it coming. You knew I was going to go here. We often ignore our own unspoken messages, that gut feeling that we push aside, the intuitions that we dismiss, the emotions that we try to talk ourselves out of. So take a moment right now. Close your eyes, if you're in a safe space to do so. What are you not saying to yourself? What messages have you been too busy to hear? What feelings have you been pushing below the surface? Sometimes the most important conversation we need to have is with ourselves, listening to our own unspoken truths. Every person you meet is carrying an invisible story. They're holding hopes that they're afraid to voice, or fears that they can't name, or dreams they're just not quite ready to share. And this means you as well. When we learn to listen beyond words, we create safe spaces. We create spaces for others to share their stories. We create spaces for us to be able to tell our own self these stories. It's almost like we're having to inspect the heart, right? Looking for clues in the pauses between words and the shift of someone's energy and the things that they almost say, but they don't. And when we do this, when we learn this, just like any skill, this deeper listening, it begins to show us someone that's really there. But this takes practice, right? Not only with someone else, but also with yourself. So this week, I challenge you to try something. In your next 3 important conversations, try focusing less on preparing your response and more on just observing everything else that's happening. Notice the body language. Notice the tone. Notice the energy. What stories are being told beyond the words? And keep in mind, sometimes the greatest gift that we can give someone is the space to be heard, truly heard, to be understood in their silences as much as in their speech. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for living. And I want you to remember that some of life's most important messages, they come in whispers, not words. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind. And join me again as we calm it down. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, see where I may be appearing in your area, or just simply want to know where to send me some chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized sweet tooth. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and not intended, nor should they, serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you, and you should only act upon the advice of this physician. Now, I'm an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this in future podcast episodes to aid those needs. So to find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review, or better yet, share it with a friend. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of mental and emotional health. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind and join me again as we calm it down.